Welcome viewers. The climax has passed. As the title was withdrawn, Harry and Meghan sat calmly watching the empire crumble. Stay tuned, this video explains all. Please, if you are new to my channel, take a moment to press the subscription button below and the notification bell for the latest news. According to a US source, Meghan and Harry's carriage has been completed. According to the insider, the two of them have gone too far in their attacks. The entire climax was the booing during the Queen's Platinum Jubilee Thanksgiving service, and the climax was the hardening automobile chase. When Dior and Spotify spoke out, that was only the beginning of the train stench. Their paparazzi tip-off still publish Gable-style images of Meghan Markle trying to act incognito with her rings off or some other cryptic symbol piping out from that trench coat intended huge attention. They really are like dumping water on red fire still at this juncture. Just a bunch of hissing, spitting, and odor because we want them to finally leave and live their dream of an unnamed and untied life. They were cancelled by Spotify, and they have a true lack of huge brand backing, as well as public statements regarding their lack of talent from two successful plain-speaking top Hollywood executives, which I believe is the public beginning of the end for the pair. Because Meghan is untalented, I don't see any way for her to recover. They don't have any HRH styling, they don't have a brand, they're just a pair of losers, grifters who have duped themselves into thinking they're something special. They're middle-aged, and they have not really accomplished anything on their own. Meghan Markle was a bit-part actress who was hardly noticed in Hollywood, and Harry was very fortunate to be born into the family that he was born into as a prince but had no brains in that ginger head of his. Chances for them to improve their life are virtually nil. They'll either have to downsize and live like ordinary people, or they'll have to come begging to the royal family. I, for one, am looking forward to the day when the mystery surrounding the unseen child is finally resolved. We occasionally see bizarre Photoshop photos of Arkyle and Lilibert, but Harry never seems to enjoy their presence. And I don't think it's a stretch to say he appears very miserable. I don't believe Harry is happy in life. That reported Lilibert christening was likewise odd. Now, according to reports, Godfather Tyler Perry was appalled by what was about to happen and departed almost immediately, taking his choir with him, and if Diana's two sisters had attended, they also left nearly immediately. It was speculated that they were employing a different child, which bothered people greatly. After Christmas rolls around and we still don't get to see the invisible kids, the royal family won't get to see the kids, and there won't be any family events for the cousins. I believe Harry will be unable to deal with the stress of bearing two made-up children, and the relationship will eventually break down. Harry is never seen in public enjoying time with his family. Meghan is always gripping his hand with her claw. He is worried, he appears unhappy, and the children, well, we've never seen them at all. Remember how Harry grumbled about his father not taking him on enough bike rides? I don't see him taking Arkyle or Lilibert either. They are not out on the beach, they're not at the neighborhood playground, and we don't see them going to the supermarket as Catherine does with her kids. They don't eat out, and there was no Jubilee party for the children in the palace. All of this and more has been observed with Harry's brother and sister-in-law's children. But the most troubling problem in my mind is how they lied about and insulted this beloved queen, someone who is mourning the love of her life while also struggling with cancer, and they couldn't even bother to go visit her. I don't think there's any way out of that kind of behavior. Both of them are hollow on the inside. We all know that what goes around comes around, and if those invisible youngsters are real, one day they'll be adults, and when they treat them the same way, Meghan and Harry will realize how wrong they were. Who needs adversaries when you have friends or relatives like the two of them? I don't believe Meghan Markle will return to the UK, and even if they do, she has made so many accusations against the royal family and the press that there is no way for her to return. And Meghan isn't a pleasant person. Meghan Markle didn't realize that Harry was the attraction, not her. She never was. She is a bit-rate actor who is this old, and Harry is a royal with no actual ability. He also crossed a line that he should never have passed. He'll do anything he can to appeal to his father, but I don't think it'll be easy. I mean, Harry no longer has anyone on his side, neither Queen Camilla, the Wales family, the West Essex, or the Princess Royal in the Republic. Many mistakes were made, but one of the largest, in my opinion, was bringing Camilla and Catherine into this madness. Charles and William could have overlooked the insults directed at them, but neither can ever forgive Meghan and Harry for what they said about their wives. I believe Meghan understood that fabricating the vehicle pursuit narrative was going too far, but she had reached that point a long time before that. It was simply a question of time. And then their bosses, Spotify, came out calling them liars and saying they don't have any talent. Well, all they have is different versions of the story about how the royal family treated them horribly, but they can't provide any specific examples or proof, so people are just sick of hearing the same old stories. Now that the left has been there for a while and people realize they aren't truly related to the royal family, they no longer have any content. They are no longer useful. I believe Meghan expected that by marrying into the royal family, offers would flood in for her, but that certainly did not happen. And perhaps she assumed that because Harry is a prince, she would have the same experience, but what she failed to realize was that Harry was a public figure because he was on official royal engagement with the monarchy. He wasn't just out there on his own all the time. Without the royal family, there's simply a couple of ordinary individuals who still have those titles. I'm also curious about their requests that the royal family apologize to them now that we hear they're pleading to return to the royal family and try to help the king. Oh. So, what are they on about? Do they mean what Harry meant when he refused to sing "God Save the King" at his father's coronation, and then what happens when William becomes king? Will they be willing to bow in homage to William and Catherine? I doubt it. I believe they are simply waiting for a new juicy news to drop in order to disgrace the royal family once more. Well, Meghan isn't as clever as she thinks she is. In fact, she's proven that she's a bit of an idiot, riding on the wings of other people because she cannot come up with any good ideas of herself. Forget about feminism, particularly for Meghan Markle, who is in her 40s and still is yet to figure out her place in the world. Some sugars will argue that she obtained the roles on her own. She was a nurse at the main hospital, and I only discovered the other day that her father had been nominated for an award for the work that he performed, so that explains how she got that small part. I've also heard that Trevor pulled some ties to get her that part because she didn't pass the initial audition, and her uncle needed to secure her that position at the embassy because she couldn't pass the exam, so she couldn't remain forever. She did have some roles with Hallmark movies, but if you're familiar with those films, you'll know that they normally sign long contracts with them and they're in a few different movies over many years, which means it wasn't important that COVID hit. They stayed in Canada for an entire year before moving to the US, right when Canada closed its borders due to the pandemic, and they just kept saying the same thing over and over again. So many people were saying, well, do they have something new to tell us, or do you have any proof? And of course they couldn't give any proof, and everyone finds out after signing Meghan on that she really isn't talented, which is why they want to get away from her. She definitely doesn't know when to keep her mouth shut, does she? She's usually inventing stories or summoning paparazzi to snap images of her. Apparently, her public relations team urged him to shut up and quit lying about the royal family. Things appears that Meghan's public relations team has realized that working with her is no picnic. Regardless of how they try to spin things, nobody cares if the harm has already been done. They're